Okay, this video is going to be special. So before I go even into the topic, if you're retired, let me know how you did it, because my audience love to know. Let's jump into the video. This video is going to be about why millennials won't be able to retire. So I read this article that said 34% of millennials, it's right here if you want to look at it, 34% of millennials haven't even started saving up for retirement. And Allison's in the career world, and she's keeps up with what's going on in the career world, and I'm more into finance, like that a little bit better. But what she heard is, do you want to explain it?
Yeah. So I read an article today in Yahoo Finance that talked about it was called returnships, and think internships, but for people who are older than 65 who maybe have tried to retire and maybe the market wasn't right, maybe they have too high of expenses, maybe they had medical bills they didn't anticipate, but they, for whatever reason, they need to go back to work at like 70 years old, and it's called a returnship. And that is a sad thing. I mean, if you love working and you're doing it because you love working, more power to you. But if you're doing it because you did not plan well, or because maybe you tried to retire at a downturn in the market, I am sorry. Let me know if you need any career advice. I'm happy to support you. But that's kind of what we're facing right now, this day and age. I think France, the leader of France, Macron, wanted to, stealth increase the retirement age there to 70 something. People revolted, there's protests, but we're seeing this across the board in a lot of countries where people are not able to retire at the ripe age of 65 because they either took money out of their 401k, which is heavily taxed before retirement age, or they did a cash out refi, now they have a high interest rate, or they don't have equity in their home, they don't have an investment property, maybe they don't have a 401k or a Roth IRA. And let me tell you, Social Security, what is it, 2,000 something a month?
Probably, yeah.
That is supposed to be a supplement. That is not for you to live off of, right?
Yes, and so what would you say to people that are in their careers right now, to combat that with the rising costs? So do you think that they need to save more, live below their means, or get a better job? What do you think?
Okay, combination of everything. I would say be asking for a raise every year, or switching jobs and automatically getting a 10 or 20% raise. The best chance of you getting a raise is getting a new job. Also, living below your means. I feel like we're broken records. We say this all the time, but seriously, people, if you're trying to book a trip to Europe and you're putting it on a credit card because you don't have enough cash, you probably shouldn't go. And now there's AI tools where you can Photoshop yourself in front of the Trevi Fountain, so you don't even need to go. But also, getting into real estate, I think real estate is the best way to make hundreds of thousands of dollars within a year or two. We've done it.
So a little bit of context. We only did that because I had the time, the resources, to put my other business, work on it at night with her, and during the day basically work on the real estate stuff. So I'm not an agent, I'm just an investor. So that is what we've done, and it's treated us very well so far. But we are now, before we had a bunch of money in real estate, and now we're switching it. 80% of our wealth in real estate before we moved to Las Vegas, because we moved some stuff around, and that is a very good way to retire. But you need to be diversified. You cannot bet only on real estate. You need multiple ways. You need stocks, you need bonds, you need be part of businesses that will give you that you are part of, because we've invested in a business, haven't seen royalty checks yet, but should be coming at one point. And yeah, and then real estate. And if you can find another way like crypto or whatever it is, more kudos to you, because you'll need it. You will absolutely need it. The last thing you want to be is live great in your 30s and 40s and then have an awakening at 45 that retirement's around the corner and you haven't put anything away, and you're going to call into the Dave Ramsey show at 59 years old saying, I have zero in retirement, I have zero stocks, and I have nothing to my name, but I lived a good life. What do I do?
Okay, so question. What do you mean when you say live like nobody else so you can live like nobody else? When I met you, that was a popular phrase that came out of your mouth. What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by live like nobody else, and you can live like nobody else down the road. So I basically put my own spin on it. It's from Dave Ramsey, and he says it about giving. You know, you give it to something or something like that. But I say I live like nobody else. That I mean that
You made sacrifices.
I mean, we made sacrifices. We've bought a house in California, and we were married, and we had roommates. And so we had 2 roommates in a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. We had roommates. So it's crazy. Other people in our field, our close family, didn't think that it was a smart idea for newlyweds to have roommates. But what that allowed us to do is basically house hack it. So I think our tenants paid us $2,200 each month, right? In rent total, and our mortgage was $2,600. So we basically lived, and utilities. So we spent about $500 a month in housing costs, what I think was phenomenal. And that really slingshotted us into other investments, into investment properties, into other greater things, because we did make those sacrifices. And we also remodeled our house before we moved in. And yes, it was, if I could, I would just live with her by myself. But it was financially really beneficial to us to go in our 20s and 30s dealing with the bullshit. So then down the road, we don't have to deal with that anymore. So let me show you now a round view of Lone Mountain. And it is just gorgeous. I mean, this area is so pretty. I never wanted to live here because I thought the desert was ugly and funky, and I was completely wrong. Now I live in the desert and I freaking love it.
Las Vegas.
Yeah, in Las Vegas. So yeah, so we were trying to get ahead with roommates, and some of our family members were not happy about us having roommates, and we've always rented out rooms till we moved.
What about the car choices we made earlier on? Remember the C-Max we drove and the
Yeah,
Chevy Bolt?
Yeah, we also drove cars that we could get at CarMax for $10,000 with a warranty.
With electric that we
Yeah, and so we had like super cheap cars that didn't cost a lot. While we were making actually 6 figures, but we were still living like we were in college. We didn't really go out. We didn't really enjoy life too much. We just lived frugally, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
We turned every dollar upside down twice, because while we were renting, we also paid off $60,000 in student loans. Our whole wedding fund basically went towards student loans. And
yep, we had a cheap wedding in a trailer park.
Yeah, and we lived in a double wide. And now I live in a 3,300 square foot house. And I used to live in a double wide where it rained inside the windows and the walls would move like this. I showed you on the frame. That's how the walls would move when it was rainy. And yeah, so we basically live like nobody else, so we can live like nobody else now. And now we're really working hard on putting in stocks, real estate, so we can actually progress and keep moving forward.
Do you think we would have been able to do this if the market hadn't been climbing for the past 5 years?
Yes. So stuff that we did, having roommates, upgrading, moving, wasn't really we still had roommates, even though we wouldn't we'd still have roommates if the market would have been plateaued. We still would have had the roommates. We wouldn't have sold that high of a price for our house, but that would have been okay because we did have that supplement. So living for 2 years at Lindsay Lane, this was where I used to live, right here. And
you tell them what happened to the house after we sold it?
No, but that's going to be a video. So like and subscribe, and I'll show you, and I'll walk in about 2 weeks. I'm going to walk around that area that I used to live in, and I'll share with you some ideas and some stuff that we did investment wise that were very smart. And yeah, that is short some story. So I'll tell you a little bit more in a month from now about what happened to our townhouse that we sold, that we absolutely loved. I absolutely loved that townhouse. Didn't too much like Santa Cruz, but I love the townhouse, and how we rolled that into a bigger one. That might be a funny story, and you guys get some knowledge about that.
I have the mic, I have more. So another thing that we did that I think was really smart is I have mostly worked for publicly traded companies, and I have gotten a lot of stock from them. And we have never sold that stock to buy something that depreciated. Like, we've never sold the stock to pay off a credit card. We've sold stock to buy different stock, or we've sold it to buy real estate. So if you're going to sell a appreciating asset and buy something that's depreciating, you might be making memories or drinking good wine, but you're throwing your money down the toilet. So if you're going to cash out your 401k early, make sure you buy something that's going to give you an even greater gain with that money. Or if you're going to sell your stock, make sure you're buying real estate that's going to appreciate even more than the stock would have.
So with that said, don't roll growing equity into something that depreciates like a car, because man, we would have loved buying a fancy car, and we were thinking about debating.
We had an X6 for a week.
Yeah, we had an X6. We had all the cars. Now I still drive a super nice car. But we were thinking about, we could get a really nice Aston Martin, a DBX, the SUV, and we could afford it. But we are not going to do that. We're going to go into complete utter direction, because I need to secure, even though I'm only 30, I need to secure my retirement, and I need to make sure that even all the stuff I'm making on YouTube, marketing, Herb Job, is going into. I have enough invested in real estate, so now we're going to look into stocks and some other businesses that actually pay us dividends, so we can retire at a reasonable age and not be worried and stressed out about our finances too much. Because I also feel like if you're not stressed out about finances, your marriage is going to go better. Because if you don't know where your next meal is going to come from, you come up with stupid ideas to make stuff happen. So I feel like most people, millennials especially, that don't even have something saved up yet, should start looking into where and how they can do it. And I feel like the school system isn't really telling them where and how to do it. So there needs to be a system in place where they basically teach you that from somebody that retired successfully, not just from somebody that wrote a book and did it so they're going to teach it in high school from a 70-year-old professor that can't retire because he didn't follow the textbook. It needs to be from somebody almost that is retired, that just loves to teach and says how he does it. But I think some people are just not interested. They don't want to do it.
They want to live now and have fun now.
Yeah, so let me know if you know somebody like that in the comments also. And yeah, help my community out and come up with some creative ideas how millennials can retire pretty nicely. Yeah, and I read all your comments. I respond to most of them. If you leave it on the shorts, I'm trying to, but sometimes Google is kind of funky with show me comments. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.